Hi there, my name is Charlene Thiessen, and my PowerPoint presentation today is for Assignment 3, Informal Assessment Strategy for the PIDP 3230. Today I will be discussing the Informal Assessment Strategy flashcards that I currently use while teaching my music students. I will talk about what this strategy looks like for me with my students and how I implement it as their teacher. I will also talk about how I would like to use this in a classroom setting. I have been a piano teacher for over 25 years and have taught many age groups and many different skill levels, and my teaching experience comes from teaching music. I have also been a certified dental assistant for the same amount of time, and I plan on implementing this informal assessment strategy in a classroom as a way to get some feedback as to how my students are doing. Within each music lesson, old concepts are reviewed and new ones are introduced. With each lesson, it is important that the student remembers the concepts so I can continuously build new concepts onto the old ones. One way that I do this is with flashcards. This is an extremely effective way for me as their teacher to get a good idea as to what my students remember and what needs to be reviewed. I try to do this on a regular basis at the end of their lesson time. This game is a non-threatening way to get feedback and to give feedback. The student is learning which areas they need to improve on, and I'm getting vital information as to where the discrepancies are in their learning. This is definitely an advantage to both student and teacher. I start out with flashcards in front of me with a different concept on each one. I try to categorize them into smaller, more specific concepts. If the student gets the flashcard correct, they keep it, and if they get it incorrect, I keep it. At the end of the game, we count up the total and see who has more. The flashcards that they guessed incorrectly are areas that need more attention. For my younger students, they earn a prize if they get them all correct. My students have actually come to really enjoy these flashcards, and they actually ask for them. This is a win-win for me. Similarly, I think this informal way of assessing my students can be used in a classroom. I would like to teach the dental assisting course, so this flashcard method can be used to assess where my students are at in their learning. How this might look in a classroom is this. At the beginning of the class, I will present different terminology or concepts as a, quote, flashcard from the front, and students will be encouraged to write the correct response on the paper in front of them. This paper could even be the size of a flashcard. The answers they give will not be graded, but these answers will be more of an assessment as to where they are at. Each student will hand in their flashcards right away. There is a huge advantage to this strategy. According to study.com, assessment is a key component of learning because it helps students learn. When students are able to see how they were doing in class, they are able to determine whether or not they understand course material. My students have become used to being assessed on a regular basis. This leaves little room for surprises, which is nice, and the assessment doesn't feel intimidating to them. They also go on to talk about the effects of assessment from a teacher's perspective. Just as assessment helps students, assessment helps teachers. Frequent assessment allows teachers to see if their teaching has been effective. Assessment also allows teachers to ensure students learn what they need to know in order to meet the course's learning objectives. The assessment process for me becomes more of a conversation of what is working for them as a student and what they need to work on. I have regular input, which gives me more security in my teaching. Providing ongoing feedback and assessments along the way can make a huge difference. It also keeps me on a timeline as to what needs to be taught. The disadvantage, however, to this strategy is that it doesn't really give enough time to change my lesson plan for that class if needed. It would be difficult to find out that my students really didn't understand the previous class's lesson and have to reroute my teaching at that moment to accommodate. Although having a backup plan to allow for moments like these would be really helpful. One quote I would like to leave you with is from Barclay's Student Engagement Techniques. The best way to lead students to expect success is to structure the course so that they can succeed. If they try hard and persevere, even when things are tough, they will succeed. Thank you for listening.